What's up? You rock with the team, and I'd like to welcome you to the Hood on.
What's up? What's up? What's good with y'all? I just stepped in the house, so y'all give me a few minutes. We about to get started. I'm about to expose the truth about the blue people and let you know that these clown ass, bitch ass bloggers is lying to y'all for clout. So y'all stay tuned, give me a few minutes. What's up? What's good with y'all? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I gotta roll up my blunt. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the broadcast by playing this video about the blue people, so you guys will be a little more in tune on what's going on with them. To give you a little rough draft, the reason why the blue people are blue because they're suffering from a type of disease that causes their blood to get less oxygen than the normal person. You know, oxygen is what gives your blood that red color. So if you don't get enough oxygen in your blood, then of course your color is blue. There's nothing else. There's nothing more to it. So I'm gonna show you guys, and you guys tune in. All right, let me introduce to you who the blue people are.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel and another video here on this channel, which is going to be a video that isn't necessarily true crime, but I've been coming across a lot of strange information lately. I've been going down some black holes on the internet, wormhole, whatever you want to call it, and I actually came across a book on Amazon Kindle that I decided I wanted to read. I'm an avid reader, so when I looked up books that you should read, interesting things about history, I'm a history nerd, I came across a book called The Book Woman of Troublesome Creek by Kim Michelle Richardson. Basically, the book was about a woman who was a librarian that in the 1930s, now this is a long time ago, that they had horse-drawn carriages that basically went around and was like a portable library, and she was the librarian about it, and it's her story. Sounds kind of boring a little bit when you think about it, but no. When you get into the book, you realize that the main character in the book, Hussey, is blue. Like blue da ba dee da ba da, like blue, like her skin was blue. So when I read this, it was so interesting to me. The book was fantastic, by the way. Like, I'm a huge reader. I read so many books. I love Amazon Unlimited on the Kindle. But what I did not realize until after I finished the book, that that character and her whole story was based on a real family who had blue skin. I was very surprised to learn that there were people that actually had blue skin, and they were from the same area the book was written in. So the Appalachian Mountains in the Kentucky area. And when you read about it and you go back, you all see that the people that have the blue skin are all directly related to the Fugate family. This story is incredible, guys. Like, if you're into like medical mysteries and different things like that, this is the video for you. So let's go into the origin of the Fugate family and how this whole situation came to be. So the name of Fugate came to the United States by way of Martin Fugate, who was actually an orphan from France who came over to start a new life in the early 19th century. So we're talking 1800s, long time ago. Martin Fugate ended up settling in the area of Troublesome Creek in 1820 in the Kentucky Appalachian Mountains. He ended up marrying a local woman named Elizabeth Smith, who had a bunch of family in the area. Granted, this is in the Appalachian Mountains in the 1820s. There's not a lot of people around. There are no roads. This is like very country, wasn't a lot of people. So they were kind of the nearest family. So Martin Fugate and Elizabeth Smith get together and decide to start their own family. They get married. But what Martin and Elizabeth did not know is that they unknowingly carried a recessive gene, and I'm going to butcher this throughout the entire video. I'll put it on the screen also so you guys can see. Here we go. Methemoglobinemia. That still wasn't correct. But that is the condition that they carry the recessive gene for, and they had no idea they did. So Martin and Elizabeth start having a family. They start having kids, and they are absolutely shocked when some of their kids are born with blue skin, which is derived from that condition that I cannot say, methemoglobinemia. I think I said it right that time. They had blue skin children, and they had no idea why. And back then, there weren't a lot of doctors. There wasn't a lot of medical information going on. Very country folk up in the mountains. They had no idea. So 4 out of the 7 children that they had ended up having blue skin. Now, Martin and Elizabeth did not have blue skin. They just carried the recessive gene for it. So that's why it was so shocking and so different and so new that happened to be 2 people that had that recessive gene came together and have children that had the ability to have the blue skin. Crazy. But otherwise, besides the blue.
Okay, we're gonna stop right there for a second. I want y'all, for those that just tuned in, the blue people have a blood disease called hemoglobin, whatever the fuck she just said. And what that basically means is your blood doesn't get the normal amount of oxygen that everybody else's blood get. So because of that, that's why they show blue instead of, if you're white, you see a reddish, pinkish color, and so on.
Blue skin, they seemed healthy otherwise. They really didn't have any conditions. They seemed to do well. They thrived. They grew up, and they didn't really think anything of it. They were just different. Now, like I said earlier, the Fugates lived in the Appalachian Mountains in Kentucky. Very country area, very isolated. And their family was rather isolated. Really, the only family close by was Elizabeth's family. This is before there were even roads or railroads in the Troublesome Creek area. Like, this is very isolated times. So, as Martin and Elizabeth's kids start growing up, they need partners, they need spouses, they need people to carry on the family name and their legacy. And the only family around was Elizabeth's. Yes, I'm talking incest. Yes, interbreeding, as you will. But if you do a lot of research in the 1800s, it wasn't really that uncommon, especially in areas where there was a lot of isolation, like the Fugates were living in. But in today's standards, it's very taboo, and we know a lot of very strange medical conditions can come from it and a lot of health problems, and it's just all around not good to do. Rather gross, but back then it was kind of normal. So Martin and Elizabeth's kids start marrying family members from Elizabeth's side, and the more prominent one is Martin and Elizabeth's son, Zachariah. They start marrying into their own bloodline, and Zachariah actually marries his aunt. So he marries his mother, Elizabeth's sister. So that is where the interbreeding starts happening as far back as Martin and Elizabeth's first child, Zachariah. this is what began passing down that recessive gene. It's a very rare thing to occur. That is why blue skin is very prominent and very labeled as members of the Fugate family and descendants from it. But that is why it was able to be kept so tight-knit and so passed on and so prominent, because they were keeping the recessive genes very, very close together and in their own bloodline. But honestly, back then, yeah, they were interbreeding, but a lot of other families were also. The Fugates were kind of starting to be known for their blue skin, and people kind of left them alone. They were different, but other than that, they were still in isolation, and anybody else that came.
So when you hear these weird ass, bitch ass, lying ass bloggers telling y'all that the blue people are like a different species or a different, you know, a different type of human or even alien, that just let you know these motherfuckers is retarded, they dumb as fuck, and ain't got no motherfucking brain. It's simple medical science. Blue people, huh? Yeah, okay.
Around kind of just left them to be. So literally over 100 years passes and descendants from the Fugate family still are getting the recessive gene, are still being born with blue skin. No, the interbreeding wasn't going on. That had ended a very long time ago in the 1800s, when people started to figure out there were other ways to spread the seed and continue on your family line than having kids with your own family members. But in the 1960s, there were still people descended from the original Fugate family that were still suffering from blue skin. And I call it suffering because that's what they viewed it as. At this point, the Fugate family had become famous. They were famous for their blue skin. It was very labeled as, you are a member from the Fugate family, but it was also labeled as, you are like incestual. Like, it wasn't a good thing for them. They weren't proud of it. It wasn't a family heritage they wanted to put on display, but it was a family heritage that would always be on display because it's literally your skin. Now, not everyone from the Fugate family descended from them had blue skin. You still have to come across somebody that has that recessive gene, but that recessive gene is so prominent that it comes out a lot of the time. And it associated.
So what she said basically was, if anybody had that rare disease like the Fugates that causes their blood to get less oxygen than needed, they too can come out blue. That's all this is, y'all. This is all it is.
Them with that, and they wanted a stop to it, but they also wanted to know why this was happening, why the descendants from the Fugate family was having this blue skin occur. So 2 family members descended from the Fugate family who had blue skin in the 1960s have enough, and they decide they're going to go try to get some medical help to see A, what is causing this, B, what is the cure for it. So Rachel and Patrick Ritchie end up going to a hematologist at the University of Kentucky Medical Center. I believe you pronounce it Dr. Madison Kai Wynn. I'm going to say that. It might be Kai Ween. I'll put this name on the screen in case you want to do some more research. I'm going to refer as Dr. Madison. So Dr. Madison ends up collecting a lot of information from his research about the Eskimo populations, and trying to figure out what was going on in their blood. Maybe it was similar to what was happening with the descendants of the Fugate family, which is very interesting that you can take different families and people derived from different populations pretty much and try to see how their blood matches. It's pretty cool. Like, hematology and blood and the Rh factor and all that's very interesting stuff to me. I may have to do a video on that in the future, but that's kind of what the doctor ended up using to try to figure out what was going on. So after the information was put on with the Eskimo populations, researched more, he ends up deriving that the Fugate family and the descendants of them were suffering from a hereditary, very rare blood disorder. So methemoglobin is actually already in our blood. It's there. But we, as people of the Caucasian descent or people with lighter skin tones, don't have a lot of it. These people had an excessive amount, because what you do have in your skin, what gives Caucasian people this really pinky looking skin, is the hemoglobin that is in your blood. So methemoglobin is basically the blue version of hemoglobin, which is red, which gives our skin the pinkiness that it has. So the hemoglobin shows through our skin. So the Fugate family, their descendants, had so much of the methemoglobin in their blood that it was showing through their skin as blue. So now that Dr. Madison knew what was going on, okay, the Fugate family, Patrick and Rachel Ritchie, who came to him at the university, they have a excessive amount of methemoglobin, and that is what's making their skin blue versus having the regular pinkish tint of hemoglobin. Now I know what it is, so let me find a cure. And he actually did. So what he decides to do, okay, if there's a lot of methemoglobin causing their skin to be blue, we're going to counteract that with more blue. So the best chemical that he found to use blue against blue basically was to use a dye, that's blue dye, and inject it into the member of the Fugate families, into their blood, to try to like counteract the blue. And through this, he thought that it would change the blue methemoglobin into red hemoglobin. So after finding this cure and working on this, he ends up giving the injection to Rachel and Patrick Ritchie. And within minutes, their skin turns a pinkish color and loses the bluish tint. So obviously they couldn't get injections all the time. So what the doctor ended up doing was making pills that had the same dye in them for them to take. And they basically decided that as long as they took the pills every day and as long as their body was getting that dye, they wouldn't turn back blue. So I did find a cause of why this recessive gene is occurring. So it is occurring due to an enzyme deficiency, which prohibits oxygen from traveling to the blood. So that's some of the genetic causes that could have been happening of why the recessive gene started back with Martin and Elizabeth Fugate. Obviously, it was happened way before them, but that's when it started to become prominent. But there are actually a lot of other ways people can have blue skin. There's actually a syndrome called baby blue syndrome, where there are some infants who ended up having problems with their methemoglobin. So basically, it's the infants that end up having that enzyme that ends up causing the recessive gene that the Fugate family have. It's having that enzyme and being exposed to nitrates can actually cause babies to have blue skin, but usually that goes away on its own. For the Fugate family, it was head to toe blue, body all the way. I did find some symptoms that people can have who have issues with their methemoglobin, and it could be shortness of breath, fatigue, just different things like that, breathing issues. They're not getting enough or they're not getting as much oxygen as somebody that doesn't have an excessive amount of methemoglobin, because we normally have more hemoglobin in our system that carries oxygen to our cells. But with the methemoglobin, it's having a hard time doing that because of that enzyme. So that would be a prominent symptom with shortness of breath. So after I read that there was a cure, I was like, well, there really can't be anybody else then. You know, if they had not necessarily cure, if you stop taking the medication with the dye, it ends up coming back. But are there still blue people out in the world being born from the Fugate family specifically? So I did find some information on that in 1975. So a little boy was born in 1975. His name's Benjamin Stacy. They call him Benji for short. Was a baby born with blue skin. He was born and doctors were completely shocked as to what was going on. And there were family members there that said, yeah, he's a member or descendant of the Fugate family. He's actually a descendant from Zachariah, who was Martin Fugate and Elizabeth Smith's son, who ended up marrying his aunt, his mom's sister. He is a descendant from Zachariah, and his family were just kind of like, well, you know, his grandmother was blue. It's kind of normal. Like he's a Fugate descendant. It's kind of normal for us. And doctors were like, whoa, what? They didn't want to automatically inject dye. You know, Benji was fine. He had no health conditions that they were alarmed about. They were just shocked that he was blue. But after a few months, Benji actually started to lose his blue coloring, which indicated to doctors, after going through the whole thing with Dr. Madison's research, going through the whole Fugate family ancestry line and their blue methemoglobin issues, they kind of decided that, okay, now that he's losing that bluish tint, he didn't really get the full recessive gene. He may have just gotten a copy of it, and he's kind of just coming out of it. And what I found very interesting is that Benji was actually the last of the descendants till this day to be born blue, and that was in 1975. So that was a long time ago. But I think the story, of the Fugate family is not just about inbreeding and all that. There's actually been a lot of interviews with members of the Fugate family who are blue, particularly on Oprah. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube if you want to go ahead and watch some of them. They're just normal people that are just living their life in Kentucky. But I think what also the Fugate family can be known for, and probably should be known for now that we're later on in 2020, is that the 1960s finding the issue with it, that it was methemoglobinemia, and what the cure for it was. There's babies born with baby blue syndrome, and it kind of gave them an idea of what was going on, and a better idea, and could kind of help medicine and advance it in that area and give them more knowledge. So I think that's what the Fugate family should be known for, more so than what was going on with those people in the 1800s. Should be known for, kind of putting their mark on medical history, and definitely a medical mystery until the 1960s for sure. This was a different vibe for my channel. Normally I stick to the true crime, but I want to throw in some, conspiracy, a little bit of medical mystery, a little bit of strange topics here and there. And as I'm getting further onto this channel, I'm getting inspired to make more videos. So if you like videos like this more so than the true crime, or just like my videos in general, before you leave, please give this video a thumbs up so I know you enjoyed this type of video and are enjoying the content here on my channel. And before
Okay,
you
y'all.
leave,
Y'all go ahead and check out her channel. Her channel is Talking Out Loud, y'all. Talking Out Loud. Unlike most of these weird ass, fake ass, not credible bloggers, she just don't make up shit. You see, this woman actually did her research. She found out there's a disease that these people had, which basically stopped their blood from getting as much oxygen as needed, which turned their skin color and blood blue. There's nothing more to that. They're not no aliens. They're not a different type of people, a different species. Y'all listen to weirdos with masks on, anything for money, anything for views. They'll sit up here and fill y'all head full of smoke and bush. Like I said, we just debunked that whole blue people shit. They're regular people like me and you. They just receive less hemoglobin than we do. So that's why they look shades of blue. That's it. That's all. The link is in the chat, y'all. Y'all come on up and let me know what y'all think about this story, this group of people, and even about the bloggers that's lying to try to make people believe this is a different species or maybe even aliens. And while you guys ready to come on up, I also want to play one more video for you guys. One more video I want you guys to see. This shit crazy. Niggas will do anything for a story, for views, and be full of shit. Oh wait, you guys can't hear it, huh? My bad, y'all. Can y'all hear it? Can y'all hear this the whole time y'all letting it play? Hold on. Was y'all able to hear that? Hold on. It showed it was muted on
Years
my
ago,
screen,
an
y'all.
ordinary looking man with fair skin and freckles. There he is.
Now I know you
Now,
guys
when he
can hear
walks
it.
down the street, people stare in disbelief because he is blue. Really, truly blue. I have not seen him, but coming out, yes, you are blue. You are blue. Hi, you are blue.
You're blue. You're blue.
You are blue. This is a first on the Oprah show. We have never had a blue man in all these years, really.
Well, you don't have any blue makeup back there either.
No, blue makeup. We don't have makeup for you. Have a seat. Have a seat. So, how did this happen? You weren't born blue, obviously.
No, I don't think so.
Your scalp is blue.
And it's not makeup. I know for all of you who are watching at home, it looks strange. It looks blue.
Well, it all started when I saw an ad in a magazine.
Yeah.
It was for a colloidal silver generator. And it was just a picture of a daisy that had apparently been desiccated, that had been plunked in a glass of colloidal silver, and it looked like it was freshly cut.
Yeah.
And about the same time, I heard that colloidal silver was useful for treating petroleum poisoning. And I had a friend that had petroleum poisoning from working in a machine shop from the time he was, oh gosh, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
I ordered the generator, and I would go see him every day, and we'd each make a glass of colloidal silver, and we'd drink it. And
you were drinking it for his petroleum poisoning?
well, figured I might as well drink it too if it was such wonderful stuff.
Yeah, because you thought it was going to do what?
Man, this
for you?
nigga crazy.
I had no idea.
But why would you drink it if you didn't think it was going to have some health benefits?
Oh, I wasn't going to say, here, take this. You know,
Yeah.
I thought the kindest thing to do is to take it with you. You know, just make me more comfortable with the idea. And it was about that time that I noticed it having some interesting effects.
Like what?
For me. Well, I'd had a problem with acid reflux. In less than 3 days, that was just gone. So I kept taking it, drinking it.
Drinking it every day?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And drinking how much of it? I don't know what
Oh,
colloidal...
at least a 10-ounce tumbler.
A 10-ounce tumbler?
A 10-ounce tumbler, but it wasn't very strong.
Let me stop you right here. Dr. Oz, what is he talking about? No, I just mean, what is colloidal silver? What is that?
This is what it looks like. Colloidal silver. By the way, it's a very old therapy. And for thousands of years, humans have realized that when you put silver in solution, it actually is bad for bacteria. And the reason for that, by the way, is it prevents the bacteria from making energy. But it does the same thing to our cells also.
Yeah.
And so this ailment that makes you, and I'm going to call it that because you're through and through blue. It's not just on the surface. It is called argyria. And what ends up happening is the blue gets into your cells, the silver. Yeah. And you know how you get silver in a photographic plate? When it gets exposed to sun, it turns a color?
Yeah.
Or light even? Well, the same thing happened to you. You basically tattooed your entire body with this silver.
Well, it's going to save me a lot of money at the tattoo parlor, I think.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure.
I got to ask you,
Man, this nigga is crazy, y'all. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that the whole theory of blue people being aliens, the whole theory of blue people being aliens or a different breed of people, is all bullshit and lies. That whole blue people theory, y'all, is lies. It's not true. Blue people are just people that got a disease that causes their blood to turn a different color. So all that the blue people were coming out the woodworks, the blue people were coming out the mountains, the blue people to come in the blue. Man, shut the fuck up. Do some research, you retarded slow motherfucker. God damn. You leading a whole thousands of people down a fucking dummy road. Fucking blank fucking road, my nigga. Like, I don't understand how motherfuckers can follow a motherfucker who's so damn dumb, slow, and fucking stupid. Like, this nigga Polar is reviewing his old content and he's trying to make it seem like the blue people are aliens or a whole different motherfucking race. These motherfuckers ain't nothing but regular ass people that suffer from a disease that caused their color to change. And the guy you just saw on the screen on Oprah, well, this motherfucker drunk some shit and that shit turned his motherfucking skin colors. And this Oprah interview was so old, I'm pretty sure there's a group of people in the world that probably did what this nigga did and drunk that shit. And so they walking around blue just like him. They just told you how to do it. If you want to be blue, all you gotta do is drink whatever the fuck shit this nigga just did on Oprah, whatever Dr. Oz and him was talking about, and the shit happens. So y'all stop believing the cap. Are those aliens? I don't know. Is there another race of people out there in the world or in the space? I don't know. But what I do know is when you see a blue person, as of now, don't be so quick to believe a fuck nigga when they say he's an alien or a different breed of people, y'all. Yes, they were incest. They have some weird shit going on. But other than that, they're normal people, y'all. I just debunked that whole story like I always do. And I keep it real. We keep it facts at the Hood Unlocked. Y'all let me know in the comments below. Y'all hit me up on Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, The Hood Unlocked. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. This is story number 1 of the day. You know what I'm saying? Y'all stay tuned, man. I am Sensio Official. I'd like to welcome y'all to the Hood on Lock. Y'all stop listening to these fuck niggas. Peace.